Today we're unpacking 2 Samuel chapters 1 to 4, grief, politics, and a fragile kingdom.
It opens with a messenger from Saul's camp, clothes torn, dust on his head.
He claims Saul and Jonathan are dead and that he finished Saul off on Gilboa.
That's already tense, because the scene is loaded with motives and credibility.
David interrogates him, asks for proof, hears the story, and gets the crown and bracelet.
Then David tears his clothes, and everyone with him mourns and fasts until evening.
The grief feels real, not staged, especially for Jonathan, his closest companion.
And yet David also questions the messenger's ethics. Why were you not afraid?
The phrase, "the Lord's anointed," is the theological backbone of the response.
Right. To claim you killed the anointed king is to claim a hand against God's choice.
So David orders his execution, holding him accountable by his own confession.
It's a stark signal. The throne won't be built on opportunistic bloodshed.
Then we get the lament, the song of the bow, taught to Judah.
How the mighty have fallen, repeated like a drumbeat through the poem.
The lament protects Saul's dignity, even curses Gilboa's mountains for the defilement.
It praises both Saul and Jonathan, swift as eagles, strong as lions.
And it addresses the daughters of Israel, framing public grief and memory.
The line about Jonathan's love surpassing the love of women is striking.
It highlights covenant loyalty, intimacy of friendship, and battle-bonded trust.
Also shows how grief humanizes politics. Tears precede crowns here.
Chapter 2, pivots. David asks if he should go to Judah and is told to Hebron.
He goes with his households, and Judah anoints him king over the house of Judah.
Notice he honors Jabesh-Gilead for burying Saul, bridging enemies with gratitude.
It's savvy and sincere. Dignity toward Saul tempers the transition.
Meanwhile, Abner installs Ishbosheth over Israel, creating a divided monarchy.
Two centers of power, David in Hebron, Ishbosheth in Mahanaim.
Then the tense meeting at Gibeon, two groups sitting by the pool, facing off.
Abner proposes a contest, 12 versus 12. It spirals into bloodshed.
The detail that each grabs the opponent's head and stabs is brutal symmetry.
The battlefield gets named Helkath Hazurim, field of daggers, more or less.
Asahel emerges, fast as a gazelle, chasing Abner without turning right or left.
Abner warns him off twice, even suggests taking another's armor.
Then the spear butt strikes, and Asahel falls, tragic and politically explosive.
Joab and Abishai chase Abner. Sunset falls. Finally, Abner calls for restraint.
"Shall the sword devour forever?" he pleads, pointing to inevitable bitterness.
Joab agrees. A trumpet ends pursuit. It's a pause, not peace.
The casualty count underscores the cost. David's 19 plus Asahel versus 360.
Chapter 3 opens with a stark summary. David grows stronger. Saul's house weaker.
Then we read the list of David's sons born in Hebron, dynastic roots forming.
Meanwhile, Abner gains strength in Saul's house until Ishbosheth accuses him.
The accusation over Saul's concubine is more than scandal. It's a claim to power.
Abner erupts, invokes God's oath to David, and flips allegiance.
He negotiates with David, but David requires Michal's return first.
That's emotionally messy and politically symbolic, restoring a royal link.
The scene with her husband following, weeping, is heartbreaking and telling.
Abner then builds consensus with elders and Benjamin, promising a unified covenant.
He dines with David, leaves in peace to gather Israel. Momentum toward unity.
Then Joab returns, furious, alleging Abner's a spy. Old blood meets new strategy.
Without David's knowledge, Joab recalls Abner and kills him at the gate.
It's vengeance for Asahel, but also a power play against David's policy.
David publicly dissociates, curses Joab's house, and leads mourning.
A prince and a great man has fallen today, he says. Abner honored even in conflict.
He refuses food until sundown. Public grief as political reassurance.
The people see it. Trust consolidates around David's integrity.
Yet David admits weakness. The sons of Zeruiah are too hard for him.
That line reveals the challenge of state building amid clan vengeance.
Chapter 4 shifts the tension again. Ishbosheth loses heart after Abner's death.
Enter Rechab and Baanah, raiding captains who murder Ishbosheth in his bedroom.
They carry his head to David, expecting a reward for removing a rival.
David answers with a moral ledger. He punished the messenger who claimed Saul's death.
"How much more?" he says, "for murder on a bed in one's own house?"
He orders their execution, hands and feet cut off, displayed by Hebron's pool.
The head of Ishbosheth is buried in Abner's grave, closing a grim circle.
It's a pattern. David refuses shortcuts soaked in treachery.
So what's the through line across these chapters for you?
Grief, then justice, then legitimacy. David earns trust before consolidating power.
The laments frame leadership as moral memory, not just military force.
The phrase, "the Lord's anointed," shields the throne from opportunism.
Yet the reality of Joab shows how ideals collide with revenge and politics.
And Abner's arc shows how personal rivalry can pivot national destiny.
David's demand for Michal blends personal history with statecraft symbolism.
He's reclaiming not just a wife, but a strand of Saul's royal fabric.
The public fasting for Abner reasserts law over vendetta.
Even so, David confesses vulnerability, leadership with limits.
The killers of Ishbosheth misread David's moral compass as political convenience.
Exactly. They see assassination as service, but David sees it as rot.
Let's circle back to the lament. Why teach Judah the song of the bow?
It crafts a national memory that honors even fallen rivals.
And it warns against triumphalism. Don't tell it in Gath.
Public grief becomes a boundary against enemy mockery,
The refrain, "How the mighty have fallen," is liturgy for broken pride.
and balm for shattered loyalty. Jonathan's love anchors the personal cost.
Then, in Hebron, David starts small. One tribe, 7.5 years.
Slow growth over instant takeover, legitimacy layered brick by brick.
The duel at Gibeon shows the danger of spectacle war.
Yes, performance escalates to tragedy and names a field by blood.
The narrative keeps balancing mercy and justice.
Mercy in lament, justice in refusing blood-won shortcuts.
And every decision is public. Crowds see and interpret.
Leadership is theater and truth at once. Gestures matter.
Do you think David's curses over Joab were enough?
Not enough to restrain him, but enough to separate guilt.
The text wants us to see innocence publicly established.
A king who grieves rightly earns the right to rule.
And one who punishes treachery, even when useful, stabilizes the throne.
It's statecraft with conscience, rare and fragile.
Mephibosheth's mention foreshadows future chapters. Vulnerability amid politics.
Yes, a child hurt by the collapse of a house, not by enemies.
In summary, what defines David here isn't victory, but response.
Grief, restraint, and principled justice, then power follows.
For listeners, a question. Which matters more for legitimacy, strength, or sorrow?
And how do we hold to principle when revenge offers quick results?
That's the tension of 2 Samuel 1-4 and maybe of leadership anywhere.
May our choices be measured not just by outcomes, but by the way there.
Thanks for journeying through these chapters with us today.
If you have been blessed by this podcast series, please like, share, and subscribe. God bless.